Our planet, a sphere of breathtaking beauty and endless wonders, holds secrets in its most secluded corners. There are places, scattered across continents and oceans that remain untouched by human hands, veiled in mystery and guarded by nature's formidable power. These are the Earth's forbidden zones, landscapes so dangerous, so fragile, or so profoundly sacred that we, as a species, have been kept at bay. They are not merely dots on a map, they are living testaments to forces far greater than our own curiosity, realms where the rules of our world simply do not apply. My name is B.E., and today, we embark on a journey not of exploration, but of observation from a safe distance. We will venture to the edges of the known world, to places where entry is denied, and for very good reason. From islands inhabited by uncontacted tribes to landscapes poisoned by our own mistakes, these locations are off-limits. The reasons vary. Some protect ancient life, others guard against modern dangers, and some simply demand our respect for their solitude. These prohibitions are not meant to stifle our adventurous spirit, but to preserve the irreplaceable. Join me as we peer into these 10 forbidden places. We will uncover the stories behind their isolation, understanding why humanity must keep its distance. It is a humbling reminder that for all our technological prowess and our desire to explore every inch of this world, there are some doors that must remain closed. Through this exploration, we can cultivate a deeper appreciation for the planet's power and the delicate balance that sustains life, both seen and unseen. In the azure waters of the Bay of Bengal lies a small forested island, seemingly a paradise untouched by time. This is North Sentinel Island, home to the Sentinelese people, one of the last uncontacted tribes on Earth. For what is estimated to be tens of thousands of years, they have lived in complete isolation, their culture and way of life a mystery to the outside world. Their existence is a fragile link to a past that has vanished almost everywhere else on the planet, a living window into a prehistoric way of being. Any attempt to make contact has been met with staunch and often violent resistance. The Sentinelese fiercely protect their sovereignty, viewing outsiders as a threat. They have been observed using bows and arrows to ward off boats and helicopters that venture too close to their shores. This is not unfounded aggression, but a desperate act of self-preservation. To them, we are the unknown, and the unknown has historically brought disease and destruction to indigenous communities around the world. Their hostility is their shield. The Indian government, which has jurisdiction over the Andaman Islands, has recognized the profound wisdom in leaving them be. It is illegal to travel within 3 nautical miles of North Sentinel Island. This law is not only to protect potential visitors from the Sentinelese but, more importantly, to protect the Sentinelese from us. They have no immunity to common diseases like influenza or measles, and a single encounter could trigger a devastating epidemic, wiping out their entire population. The island itself remains an enigma. Satellite imagery shows dense forest cover, but what lies beneath, the intricacies of their society, their language, their beliefs, remains entirely unknown. We can only speculate about their daily lives, their rituals, and their relationship with the rich ecosystem that sustains them. They are a people who have consciously rejected the modern world, a choice that we are morally and legally bound to respect. North Sentinel Island thus stands as a powerful symbol. It challenges our modern assumption that every corner of the world must be explored and documented. It forces us to confront the ethical limits of our curiosity. Here, the greatest act of respect is to stay away, to allow this small community to continue their existence, undisturbed as they have done for millennia, a sovereign people on their own ancestral land. On the 26th of April, 1986, a catastrophic failure at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Soviet Ukraine unleashed a disaster of unimaginable scale. A reactor explosion released a plume of radioactive material that drifted across Europe, contaminating land, air, and water. In the immediate aftermath, the nearby city of Pripyat, a bustling hub built to house the plant's workers and their families, was evacuated. Its 50,000 residents were told they would be gone for just a few days. They never returned. Today, this area is known as the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone, a vast, restricted territory spanning over 1,000 square miles. Humans are largely forbidden from living here. The very soil is saturated with radioactive isotopes like cesium-137 and strontium-90, which have half-lives of decades. These invisible poisons persist in the environment, absorbed by plants and animals, making the landscape a silent, lingering threat. To enter without authorization is to risk exposure to radiation levels that can cause severe, long-term health problems. Pripyat now stands as a haunting monument to the tragedy. It is a city frozen in time where school books lie open on desks, dolls are scattered in kindergarten cots, and the giant Ferris wheel of an amusement park that was never used stands rusting against the sky. Nature is slowly reclaiming the concrete structures, with trees growing through floors and wild animals roaming the deserted streets. It is a chilling tableau, a powerful and visceral warning of the terrifying consequences of nuclear power gone wrong. While short, highly regulated tours are now permitted in certain areas, the zone remains profoundly dangerous. The red forest, a pine forest directly downwind of the reactor, turned a ginger-brown color and died shortly after the disaster. It remains one of the most contaminated places on Earth, and deep within the crumbling sarcophagus that entombs the destroyed Reactor 4, the radioactive core continues to smolder, a challenge for generations of engineers to come. The Chernobyl exclusion zone is more than just a forbidden place, it is a lesson. It teaches us about the fragility of our technological achievements and the enduring legacy of our failures. It is a landscape defined not by natural barriers, but by an invisible contamination of our own making. And surprisingly, in the absence of humans, it has become a unique wildlife sanctuary. A stark reminder that life, in its most resilient forms, can find a way to persist even in the most toxic of environments. Deep within the arid expanse of the Nevada desert, there lies a place that officially for a long time did not exist. Known to the world as Area 51, this highly classified United States Air Force facility is shrouded in more mystery and speculation than perhaps any other location on the planet. Its perimeter is marked not by fences, but by stark warning signs, surveillance cameras, and the constant watch of armed guards. The airspace above it is the most restricted in the world. The primary purpose of Area 51 has always been the development and testing of experimental aircraft and weapons systems. It is the birthplace of legendary spy planes like the U-2 and the F-117 Nighthawk stealth fighter. The intense secrecy surrounding the base is a matter of national security designed to protect cutting-edge military technology from foreign adversaries. Every project, every flight, every piece of equipment is shielded by layers of classification, creating a vacuum of information that has been filled by intense public curiosity. It is this profound secrecy that has made Area 51 the epicenter of UFO folklore. For decades, reports of strange lights and unidentified flying objects in the skies over the base have fueled theories of crashed alien spacecraft and reverse-engineered extraterrestrial technology. While the official explanation points to the testing of highly advanced, unconventional human-made aircraft, the mythos persists, drawing pilgrims and conspiracy theorists to the desolate highways that border the restricted zone. Attempting to enter Area 51 is not only illegal but also extremely foolish. The guards, known colloquially as camo dudes, are authorized to use lethal force to protect the facility. Motion sensors and listening devices litter the surrounding desert, ensuring that any unauthorized approach is detected long before the perimeter is reached. The message is unequivocal. This land is off-limits, and the secrets it holds are not for public consumption. Area 51 represents a different kind of forbidden place. It is not protected by natural dangers or ancient spirits, but by the full force of a modern military power. Its boundaries are defined by human laws and human technology, created to guard the secrets of war and intelligence. It remains a blank spot on the map for the public, a symbol of the hidden world of military innovation and the enduring power of government secrecy. Off the coast of Brazil, about 90 miles from Sao Paulo, there's this small island that looks lush and inviting from afar. But, don't let appearances fool you. This place, called Ilha da Queimada Grande, hides a secret so deadly that the Brazilian government has actually forbidden anyone from setting foot there. It's known around the world as Snake Island, and it's home to one of the highest concentrations of venomous snakes you'll find anywhere on the planet. Nature's lethality really rules here. The island's undisputed ruler is the golden lancehead viper, a species of pit viper that you won't find anywhere else on Earth. These snakes got trapped on the island thousands of years ago, when rising sea levels cut it off from the mainland, and over time, they evolved in a totally unique way. With no ground-level prey left, they adapted to hunt the migratory birds that stop by the island. and to make sure their dinner didn't just fly away after being bitten, their venom evolved to become, well, incredibly potent. It's estimated to be 3 to 5 times stronger than any mainland lancehead. The population density is just staggering. Even conservative estimates suggest there's at least one golden lancehead for every square meter of the island, though some locals claim it's closer to 5. A bite from this snake can cause kidney failure, internal bleeding, and rapid tissue necrosis. It's a swift and agonizing death, and since the island is so remote, getting medical help in time is pretty much impossible. The risk just isn't worth it. That's why the Brazilian Navy keeps a super tight grip on access to Ilha de Queimada Grande, making it illegal for the public to visit. Only a handful of carefully selected and vetted scientists are ever allowed to land there for research, and even then, they're accompanied by a doctor. They wear full-body protective gear and move with extreme caution, knowing that one wrong step could be their last. Snake Island is a chilling example of evolution happening in isolation. It's a natural laboratory for sure, but one that's way too dangerous for casual exploration. The ban on visitors actually serves 2 purposes. It protects people from a nearly certain deadly encounter, and it also keeps the critically endangered golden lancehead population safe from poachers and human interference. It's one of those rare places where humanity has wisely chosen to let the serpents rule. Back in 1963, in the waters south of Iceland, the world witnessed something truly breathtaking. A volcanic eruption exploded from beneath the waves, throwing ash, rock, and lava high into the sky. Over nearly 4 years, this incredible display of geological power built a brand new island from the seabed up. They called it Surtsey, after Surtur, a fire giant from Norse mythology. But this wasn't just the birth of a new patch of land, it was the start of a unique scientific opportunity. From the very beginning, Surtsey was declared a protected nature reserve. Scientists saw right away how valuable it would be as a pristine natural laboratory. Here they could watch the process of colonization from the ground up, how life arrives on bare rock and little by little builds a complex ecosystem. It was a rare chance to see in real time the same processes that have shaped our planet for billions of years. To let people visit would risk contaminating this experiment. That's why access to Surtsey is forbidden to the general public. Only a tiny number of credentialed scientists are allowed to set foot on the island, and even they have to follow strict rules. Before they arrive, they have to check their clothing and gear super carefully, making sure they're not bringing in any seeds or microorganisms from the outside world. The whole idea is to watch life arrive naturally, not to introduce it. Over the decades, scientists have watched in awe as life has slowly taken hold. The first colonizers were simple things like molds and bacteria, then the first vascular plant, a sea rocket, sprouted in 1965. Insects carried by the wind or floating debris showed up next. Birds started using the island as a nesting ground, and their droppings, packed with nutrients, helped fertilize the volcanic soil, making it possible for more complex plant life to grow. Surtsey is a place of profound significance. It's a living, breathing case study in primary succession. Every new species of moss, every flock of puffins, every single blade of grass is a data point in one of the world's longest-running ecological studies. The ban on visitors isn't about danger, it's about preservation. It's a move of scientific foresight, making sure this unique window into the birth of life stays as clear and untouched as possible for future generations of researchers. In the Venetian lagoon, just a short distance from the sparkling canals of Venice, there's a small, deserted island called Poveglia. Its history is honestly a dark tapestry, woven with threads of plague, madness, and death. Today it sits abandoned, its crumbling buildings slowly being swallowed by nature. The Italian government doesn't allow visitors, and even local fishermen steer clear, whispering stories of ghosts and curses. It's a place absolutely steeped in sorrow. Poveglia's grim tale started way back in the 14th century, when it was used as a quarantine station during the bubonic plague. Ships arriving in Venice had to anchor here, and anyone showing signs of the Black Death was offloaded onto the island to die. It's said that tens of thousands of people perished on Poveglia, their bodies burned in huge pyres. The very soil is rumored to be made up of human ash and bone, a pretty grim foundation for the horrors that followed. Centuries later, in the early 20th century, a mental hospital was built on the island. But this wasn't a place of healing, it was a place of torment. Legend has it there was a cruel doctor who performed horrific experiments, including lobotomies, on his patients. The patients claimed to see the ghosts of plague victims and hear tortured whispers in the wind. The doctor's reign supposedly ended when he, driven mad by the spirits, threw himself from the hospital's bell tower. After the hospital closed in 1968, the island was completely abandoned. The buildings, the hospital, the church, the old quarantine stations were just left to rot. The air is thick with desolation and tragedy. People who've managed to sneak onto the island say they felt an overwhelming sense of dread, heard disembodied screams, and seen shadowy figures moving through the decaying corridors. The official ban on visitors is partly for safety. The structures are unstable and dangerous. But it's also out of respect for the island's dark past and the local superstitions that surround it. Poveglia isn't a tourist attraction, it's a mass grave. It stands as a somber memorial to centuries of human suffering, a place so saturated with pain that it's been left to the ghosts of its past, a permanent resident in the geography of fear. Deep in the Dordogne region of southwestern France lies a treasure of immeasurable value. Discovered in 1940 by 4 teenagers and their dog, the Lascaux Caves are a subterranean gallery of Paleolithic art, a masterpiece created by our distant ancestors. The walls of these caverns are adorned with over 600 paintings of stunning sophistication and beauty, depicting the great animals that roamed Europe during the Ice Age. This is not mere decoration. It is a sacred window into the minds of prehistoric people. The paintings, created some 17,000 years ago, are remarkably vivid. Using mineral pigments, early humans painted charging bulls, herds of horses and majestic stags with a sense of movement and perspective that is honestly astonishing. The Great Hall of the Bulls is a breathtaking panorama of animal life, a testament to the deep connection these hunter-gatherer societies had with the natural world. For them, this cave was likely a sanctuary, a place of ritual and magic, far from the light of the everyday world. After its discovery, Lascaux was opened to the public in 1948 and quickly became a major tourist destination. But this exposure proved to be catastrophic. The influx of over 1,000 visitors a day introduced new elements into the cave's finely balanced, sealed environment. The carbon dioxide from human breath, the heat from artificial lighting, and the introduction of foreign spores began to damage the ancient paintings. Algae and calcite crystals started to grow over the delicate artwork, threatening to erase it forever. In 1963, with the art in peril, the French government made the difficult but necessary decision to close the Lascaux Caves to the public permanently. The preservation of this irreplaceable heritage of humanity had to take precedence over tourism. The caves were sealed once more and a sophisticated monitoring system was installed to stabilize the climate and halt the degradation. The art of our ancestors was saved, but at the cost of public access. To share this wonder with the world without endangering it, an exact replica, Lascaux II, was painstakingly created nearby, followed by more advanced reproductions. But the original cave remains a forbidden sanctuary. It is a place where we must curb our desire to see with our own eyes, in order to protect it for all time. It is a profound act of stewardship, ensuring that the ghosts of the Ice Age can continue to gallop across the cavern walls in darkness and silence, just as their creators intended. In the heart of one of the world's busiest cities, New York, lies a place of eerie silence and wild abandon. North Brother Island, a 20-acre patch of land in the East River, is a forgotten world of crumbling ruins being reclaimed by nature. Once a place of quarantine and containment, it's now off-limits to the public, not because of a lingering disease but to protect the fragile new life that's taken root in the absence of humans. The island's history is one of isolation and tragedy. Back in the 1880s, it became the site of Riverside Hospital, a facility for quarantining patients with contagious diseases like smallpox and tuberculosis. Its most famous resident was Typhoid Mary Mallon, an asymptomatic carrier of typhoid fever, who was forcibly confined here for the last 2 decades of her life. The island was a place people were sent to be forgotten, a repository for the city's fears. After World War II, the hospital briefly served as housing for veterans and later as a treatment center for adolescent drug addicts, but it was ultimately abandoned in 1963. For half a century, the island was left to its own devices. The hospital buildings, dormitories, and chapels began to decay, their roofs collapsing and their walls consumed by thick vines and encroaching forests. It became a ghost town in the middle of a metropolis. In this human void, nature staged a remarkable comeback. The island transformed into an accidental wildlife sanctuary. Most notably, it became home to one of the region's largest nesting colonies of black-crowned night herons, a protected species in New York State. The dense, untamed vegetation and lack of human disturbance provided the perfect habitat for these and other wading birds to thrive. Recognizing its unique ecological value, the New York City Department of Parks and Recreation now manages the island as a conservation area. Access is strictly forbidden to prevent disturbance to the nesting birds, and for safety reasons, as the ruins are dangerously unstable. North Brother Island is a powerful testament to nature's resilience. It shows that even in the shadow of a concrete jungle, if left alone, life will not only return but flourish, turning a place of human sorrow into a sanctuary of wild hope. In the vast, turbulent expanse of the Southern Ocean, halfway between Australia and Africa, lies one of the most remote places on Earth. Heard Island, along with the nearby McDonald Islands, is an Australian external territory, a desolate and uninhabited wilderness of ice and fire. It's a land of extreme weather, active volcanoes and immense glaciers, a fortress of nature so formidable that it remains almost entirely untouched by human presence. The island is dominated by a massive active volcano named Big Ben, with its peak, Mawson Peak, rising over 9,000 feet into the perpetually stormy sky. This is the highest mountain in any Australian territory. The volcano is covered by enormous glaciers that carve their way down to the sea, creating a dramatic landscape of black volcanic rock and brilliant white ice. The weather here is relentless, with ferocious winds, constant cloud cover, and freezing temperatures year-round. Heard Island is a place of raw elemental power. Its isolation has allowed it to become a vital habitat for subantarctic wildlife. Vast colonies of penguins, including king, gentoo, and macaroni, crowd its shores. Enormous elephant seals and fur seals use the beaches as breeding grounds, their calls echoing against the roar of the surf. The surrounding waters are a critical feeding area for numerous seabirds and marine mammals. Because of its unique, pristine ecosystem and its geological activity, Heard Island was inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Access is severely restricted by the Australian government. It's not a place for tourism. Only a few scientific expeditions are permitted to visit, and they face a monumental logistical challenge. The journey by sea takes weeks through some of the world's roughest waters, and there are no permanent harbors or airstrips. Landing is a perilous operation. The prohibition on visiting Heard Island is a matter of both safety and conservation. The extreme remoteness and harsh conditions make any rescue operation nearly impossible, and the fragile ecosystem is vulnerable to introduced species and human disturbance. It's a place that belongs to the wind, the ice, and the wildlife. It remains a precious, unspoiled fragment of the wild earth, a reminder of what the planet was like long before we arrived. Within the heart of Vatican City, the world's smallest independent state, lies a repository of immense historical and religious significance. It's the Vatican Secret Archives, an institution that is neither secret in the modern sense, nor truly an archive. It's the private archive of the Pope, containing centuries of state papers, correspondence, papal account books, and countless other documents accumulated by the Holy See. It's a place guarded not by nature but by tradition and law. The collection is vast and priceless, spanning over 50 miles of shelving and dating back more than 1,000 years. It holds letters from historical figures like Michelangelo and Mary, Queen of Scots, the papal bull that excommunicated Martin Luther, and the records of the trials of the Knights Templar. This is not just religious history, it's the history of the Western world, chronicling the Vatican's role in politics, science, and culture across the ages. For centuries, the archives were completely sealed, accessible only to the Pope and a handful of high-ranking church officials. This absolute secrecy fueled endless speculation about their contents, with novels and films imagining they held everything from suppressed gospels to proof of alien life. The reality is perhaps less sensational, but no less fascinating. The archives are a complex, bureaucratic record of a global institution's long and often tumultuous history. In 1881, Pope Leo XIII opened the archives to a limited number of qualified scholars, a practice that continues today. However, access remains incredibly restrictive. Researchers must undergo a rigorous vetting process, possess advanced academic qualifications, and specify exactly which documents they wish to study. They are not permitted to browse freely. Furthermore, documents are generally not available until 75 years after the end of a papacy, to protect diplomatic and personal information. The Vatican's secret archives are forbidden to the general public for reasons of preservation and security. The delicate, ancient documents require a carefully controlled environment, and the sheer volume of material necessitates a highly structured system of access. It's a sanctuary of knowledge, a place where the past is meticulously guarded. For most of us, its contents will only ever be revealed through the patient work of the few scholars permitted to pass through its guarded doors into the deep memory of the Church. Our journey to the world's forbidden places comes to an end, but the echoes of these locations remain. From the sovereign shores of North Sentinel Island to the radioactive quiet of Chernobyl, from the serpent's lair in Brazil to the sacred art of Lascaux, each place tells a story of why some boundaries must exist. These restrictions are not arbitrary punishments. They are acts of profound wisdom and respect. They are put in place for our own safety, for the preservation of irreplaceable ecosystems and historical treasures, or out of deference to the inhabitants, be they human or animal. These untouched corners of the world serve as a powerful reminder of our place within the grander scheme of the planet. They teach us humility. In an age where information is instant and access seems limitless, the existence of the inaccessible is a vital lesson. It forces us to acknowledge that not everything is for us, that some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved, and that the greatest form of exploration can sometimes be the decision to leave things be. The world is not ours to conquer, but a home we must learn to share with its other occupants and its history. So let us carry with us a renewed respect for these boundaries, both seen and unseen. Let us champion the preservation of the wild, the protection of the vulnerable, and the sanctity of the sacred. The true measure of our wisdom as a species may not be in how many places we can reach, but in how many we are willing to protect by staying away. The world is full of wonders, and the most beautiful of all may be the ones we have the grace to leave untouched.